Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It's great to see some good friends here. And this is an important conversation given the point in time in the year that we're at. It's the beginning of tax season, and we know that there's some great expertise across New Hampshire in folks who do this work and assist others in making sure that they know how to file their taxes and also what opportunities there are available to them through the tax code. So maybe we can just go around the horn and have folks introduce themselves and then get into a little bit of conversation about this particular tax year. And Barbara, I see you first on my screen, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, Congressman Pappas. Thank you so much for having us on here. My name is Barbara Heggie, and I'm a staff attorney at 603 Legal Aid, which you can see behind me. And I run the Low Income Taxpayer Project there, which is a legal aid tax clinic for people who have problems with the IRS.
Terrific. And Vanessa, why don't I turn to you next?
Thank you, Congressman. Yes, my name is Vanessa Valdez, and I work under Barbara Heggie at 603 Legal Aid. I'm the community educator and the EITC assistant. So basically, my job is to make sure the good word gets out of all the different possibilities that people can have to really increase economic justice and economic wellness in our state.
Terrific. And Carrie, I'll turn to you.
Thank you, Congressman. Good to see you again. My name is Carrie Gladstone with Granite United Way, where we run a program to provide free income tax preparation that helps folks as part of efforts to allow people and give people the resources to become more financially stable.
Terrific. Thanks for being with us again. And so tax filing season is upon us, and it's really important that folks in New Hampshire are able to complete their taxes and receive their returns in a timely fashion. We know that's particularly true for low-income individuals or individuals who may be navigating this process for the first time. And so this event is really twofold. We're highlighting resources that are available for tax preparation purposes, and also marking today, which happens to be Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day, which is organized by the IRS and its partners and helps educate the public about EITC and the requirements that are needed to claim the credit. So the goal here is to raise awareness about EITC and ensure that every qualified worker claims and receives their earned income tax credit. This could provide up to $6,700 to eligible taxpayers. That really can go a long way to help make ends meet and allow individuals to afford those day-to-day expenses and to start to save as well. So to qualify, you must file a tax return and claim the credit to receive it, which is a key point we should get across today. But that's why it's important that we've got experts here who can help shed additional light on this. So why don't I just throw it open to the group? Maybe we can start off with the Earned Income Tax Credit, since we are marking today as Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day, and then move into some other concerns and considerations people might have as they approach this tax season. So any advice about Earned Income Tax Credit and how folks can go about claiming that credit?
My biggest piece of advice, which I think Carrie was just about to say too, is if you have any doubt whether you might qualify, just go and get your tax return done. If your income, household income, is below $57,000, you can get your tax return done for free by IRS certified volunteers. And the statistics show that 1 out of every 5 persons who is eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit doesn't claim it. There's so much misconception out there about who qualifies and who doesn't. If you have a child in your household, or if you have any earned income, you're very likely eligible for some kind of a tax credit. So just go and get your tax return done. And I think Carrie can provide you a lot of good details about how to do that.
Well, thank you, Barb. And yes, the Earned Income Tax Credit, just to be clear for folks who don't understand tax language, it's like getting a gift card to help you pay your taxes. So there are several different cards, different tax credits that people may qualify for. The Earned Income Credit is a benefit for people who are working, either for themselves or working for someone else, but who don't make a lot of money. And Congressman, thank you for your successful efforts that led to an expansion of the Earned Income Credit to include for 2021 people who do not have a child to claim, but had certain age restrictions previously. A lot of people think they must have a child to claim, or there are other factors that, as Barbara said, leads people to not claim the earned income credit. One being they have very low income. Well, the earned income credit starts with the very first dollar of earnings. And so people need to file a return, even if they're not required by federal law to file a return. And it can help, as you stated, Congressman, get people thousands of dollars. And the ways that people can do that are filing their own return if they've prepared the return themselves. United Way supports a platform called myfreetaxes.com that allows people to go online, get not only a return filed free of charge with an income up to $73,000, but also to make sure that they have some way of checking to make sure that their return is accurate. Assisting online that can help them understand, what is this tax credit I heard about, and do I qualify for it, and how do I enter it in my free taxes? So that's something we want to make sure people are aware of. For the rest of the folks, and Barb alluded to the fact that many people don't claim it. I did the math based on IRS data for New Hampshire and figured that an estimated $49 million is left on the table by many of your constituents, Congressman, and throughout New Hampshire, and millions more, billions more nationwide. And that's part of our mission. Why Granite United Way, not an accounting firm, is in the business of trying to help people claim this credit. For those folks who need some assistance in person or with some support, IRS certified volunteers are literally at the ready right now. And people can either go to nhtaxhelp.org or call 211, our statewide information and referral line, to connect with either a VITA, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance site, or our partners in PrEP at AARP Tax Aid.
Well, thanks for that, Carrie. That's a pretty remarkable number, $49 million that New Hampshire residents left on the table. And that's money that folks earned, that they paid into the system through taxes, and that they should be getting back, but just aren't claiming that credit. And so that's why it's important that folks take advantage of resources that are out there and available. One other tax credit that's gotten a great deal of attention of late is the child tax credit. We know that it was expanded as part of the American Rescue Plan, and that advance payments were made to families throughout last year. Can you talk a little bit about, for folks who might not have either known about the child tax credit or weren't receiving those payments last year, what they can do as they look forward to this year's tax season, and what other considerations people might have around the child tax credit?
Thank you, Congressman. There is so much to say about that. I'll go over a couple of things and give others a chance to continue. So the first thing to keep in mind is that if you got all the advanced child tax credit payments you were supposed to, that would have been $1,500 total if your children were over 5, or more, $1,800 if your children were under 6. That's only half. That's only half of the total child tax credit for 2021. And the only way to get the rest of it is to file a tax return. That's the only way to get it. And if you didn't get what you are eligible to get, then there are a whole lot of reasons why you might not have gotten advance payments that you should have gotten. If you didn't get them, don't worry, you can still get them, but you have to file a 2021 tax return. So just go and get that tax return filed. One other worry that I've been hearing about it is that there are a number of people who actually got advanced child tax credit payments who weren't eligible for it. They weren't eligible for 2021 tax credit for children because the children weren't living with them. The IRS was basing their determination of who should get the advance payments on 2020 tax returns or 2019 tax returns, because 2021 wasn't over yet. So they just did what they could. And so there are a lot of times when they got it wrong. So if you got advance payments of the child tax credit that you shouldn't have gotten because you're just not eligible for it, if your income was low, you're not going to have to pay it back, which is pretty remarkable and very helpful. So if you're filing a single and your income is $40,000 or below, you're not going to have to pay it back. So don't worry about that. Carrie, you want to continue?
Well, yes, and I just don't want to get too into the weeds because that's where it can get confusing for people. And what we are hearing is folks are going to these commercial preparers. I spoke with one person this week who is living on disability and taking care of his child, and said a commercial preparer he talked to wanted $125 to file simply to help him get that child tax credit back. So that's one of the cautions. Yes, these credits are plentiful. They've made some nuanced changes. And again, Congressman, we want to thank you for supporting the American Rescue Plan, which brought about changes to actually 3 tax credits, as well as that additional round of stimulus payments that can all be claimed by people who missed if they file a tax return, and filing them for free, not being subject to those predatory practices of high fees and what I've heard is upselling, offering things like audit protection, where if you qualify, we have audit protection sitting on the screen, and that Barb, for the same low price of free, if you qualify, can help deal with some of those things that have come up. So the earned income credit, the child tax credit, the child independent care credit, and reminding people that if they did not get the stimulus payment, the third round that came out during 2021, they can make that up. Last year, there were the 2 rounds of stimulus payments, and our VITA program statewide in New Hampshire alone last year helped people claim more than $600,000 in stimulus payments that they might have otherwise missed. So there's a lot of money out there. Our role working together is to make sure that people get everything, every single dollar that they're eligible for.
And what kind of, if folks are seeking tax assistance and seeking guidance, what kind of information do folks need to have at their fingertips? And are there any mistakes that are just common for people to make in filing their taxes that people might want to think twice about?
A couple of common ones are simply making sure that when you enter everything, go be careful. Transposing a couple of numbers can cause a major snafu. So making sure you're looking closely at your W-2 or other documents and entering box by box everything that should be in there. Our IRS certified volunteers are trained to do that, and every return done at a VITA or a TaxAid AARP site is reviewed by a second person with the same or higher level of certification. This year in particular, Congressman, there are 2 letters that are coming out to help people who got either the stimulus payment or the child tax payment advance credits, the advance payments, or both. And so they should be looking for those right around now, just as they get, if they were working for someone, their employer should be mailing out a W-2 form, the wage statement, by the end of January. They're similarly looking for a couple of letters from the IRS that will make sure that they have the accurate amount of what they already received, and that we can help them get the balance due. Because as Barb said, those child tax credit payments added up to half the total payment. And in fact, thanks to, again, the changes made during the American Rescue Plan Act, more than double the refundable amount, the amount that people get on that gift card refunded to them once their taxes are paid. So just be very careful, enter the data accurately. If in doubt, call 211 or go to nhtaxhelp.org and connect with a free site with IRS certified volunteers.
Yeah, I want to reiterate how important it is to enter all those numbers right, especially the Social Security numbers for yourself, spouse, if you're claiming jointly and filing jointly, and children. But I want to say something about the letter that's coming out from the IRS to people who got advance payments, so the child tax credit. For some people, they'll look at the number on the letter, how much the IRS says that you got, and they'll think, wait a minute, I didn't get that amount. I got less than that. Well, if you put on your tax return the amount that you actually received, according to your bank statements or whatever, and it's different than what the IRS says you got, please be aware that you will spend months and months waiting for the IRS to work this out. The delay will be horrendous. And that also reminds me, file electronically if you possibly can. Don't file by mail unless you have no other choice, because the IRS is still horribly, horribly behind. Paper filed returns, returns that you put in an envelope and send in the mail, those will take months to process. So again, if you write down on your tax return how much you got in advance payments, and it's not the same amount that is on that letter from the IRS, here's one solution to it that has been recommended by people who spend a lot of time on these issues. File the tax return with the amount on the letter electronically. And then immediately afterwards, file a second return on paper with the correct amount right on the top of the tax return. The first form is Form 1040. At the very top right, superseding return. And if you file that before the deadline for filing your taxes, the IRS will then look at that as your actual tax return. And it will take months for the IRS to figure out what to do with the superseding return and whether it's correct. But that will be long after the IRS has already processed the electronically filed return, the one with the number of the advance payments that the IRS said is correct, and you'll get a refund that is based on that. So maybe you won't wind up with the total amount of refund that you're supposed to get, but you'll get some of it, probably a big chunk of it. And then later, months later, after the IRS works through your superseding return, eventually it'll all get worked out. I can help if you want my help. Then the IRS might send you some additional money, the money that you didn't get. You might have to jump through a few hoops, but please keep that in mind.
Well, I think that's such an important point to stress about filing electronically. I know our office continues to assist folks who might have filed a paper return in a past year, and things continue to be very challenging at the IRS. We know they are understaffed and under-resourced to be doing what they're doing. Add on top of that all the layers of pandemic relief and tax changes that have been made over the last couple of years, and you've got an environment that has really slowed things down there. So filing electronically certainly helps. We're doing all we can to urge IRS and the administration to take additional steps to streamline processes and to allow people to file and get refunds in a timely fashion. We hope they're going to heed that advice and that warning as we approach April of this year. What other changes from the last tax year should people be mindful of this time around? Carrie gave us a few of the tax credits. Barb, is there anything else here that we should focus on?
Yeah. One thing I want to highlight again about the EITC that Carrie might have mentioned, but I want to make sure people understand, is that if you don't have a child to claim, but you did earn some income, then you're probably eligible for earned income tax credit dollars. And it used to be that if you were over age 65, you couldn't get any EITC if you were filing without a child. That has changed for 2021. For 2021, there's no upper age limit. So let's say you're 72 and you have a job at Market Basket and you have some dollars of earned income, no children in the house, you can get the EITC now. Also for people ages 19 through 24, it used to be that you couldn't get the EITC as a childless worker. Now it's possible, just so long as nobody's claiming you as a dependent on their tax return, then you can't get the EITC, only if you can claim yourself. If you happen to be coming out of foster care and you're 18 years old, then as an 18-year-old just out of foster care, you also can claim the EITC as a childless worker if you have some earned income. Now, I know Carrie has been very vocal about the child and dependent care credit, which has not gotten as much airplay as the other goodies that we have. So maybe Carrie can give us some information about that.
Yeah, and it's got an unfortunately similar name to the child tax credit, but this is for people with children younger than 13 if they're paying for child care or paying for home care for a parent or grandparent that allows them to work or look for work. They may qualify for up to $8,000 to help pay for that care. And yeah, we've heard so many stories, Congressman, during the pandemic of people who were struggling to go to work because they couldn't find or afford childcare. And so to say, there have been changes to the child and dependent care credit that can provide additional money, up to half of the cost of that child care for up to 2 dependents, and can be a huge boost. Again, they'll need to file a tax return to claim that money. And this credit was made refundable so that they can get back any unused money that's on that tax credit.
Thanks, Violet. Go ahead.
If Vanessa could speak a little bit about the outreach work that she's been doing, because her goal has been to try to make sure that everyone who's eligible for these goodies can get it.
Thanks, Barb. Yeah, that's basically my one mission right now, is to make sure that everyone who is eligible knows. And we've been working very closely with other nonprofits throughout the state. The River Center in Peterborough is a big one, the Family Resource Center up in Gorham, and so many more, to really work with people who are in the trench, right? They're working with these people every day and they're trusted, and taxes are scary. And they're hard to understand. I don't come from a tax background, and this has been a crash course in learning about these taxes. So we don't expect anyone else to be experts. We have experts available for free to help you do this. And we're just getting the good word out to make sure that people know this is about really helping people stay independent, stay stable. It's a crazy world we live in. Anything extra helps, especially if you got kiddos, if you got dependents you're worrying about, and if you're working hard no matter what your age. I love that, a 70-year-old who works part-time at Storyland can go and get the earned income tax credit now. That's amazing. That keeps the heat and the lights on. That's what we want. So I hope that everyone out there just knows you're not facing this alone. There are experts out there who will help you, and ask for that help. That's what we're here for. And we want you to get these tax credits. You've earned them. Now go
And
get them.
Vanessa is also coordinating efforts to tie in with rental assistance through the New Hampshire Emergency Rental Assistance Program, because there are so many people who've had additional financial difficulties. And it's a lot of the same people who qualify for these tax credits qualify for rental assistance, and that can be used for utility, alleviating food difficulties and putting food on the table. So there's a lot there. And Congressman, I want to make sure that we also point out to people, here's something very positive in all of this. Many people are going to be seeing very large tax refunds compared to the year before. And what a great opportunity for them to put some money in savings. So many people have been struggling. The Federal Reserve has done studies that found that about half of people of all income levels in this country couldn't withstand a $400 unexpected expense without having to borrow or sell something. And for lower income people, the car breaking down for lack of $400 to put the car back on the road could cost them their job, and a real spiral. So to say, if you come to one of our free sites and you're getting a substantial refund and you've got a savings account, you can split your refund into up to 3 different accounts. If you've got checking and savings, if you've got just savings and no checking account, you can put a couple, $200, $300, $400 into that savings account and get the rest issued as a paper check. For folks thinking long-term, someone had the foresight to connect with the Treasury Department, which runs the IRS, and also provides savings bonds. And with the same one piece of paper, one form that's attached to the tax return, can buy a U.S. savings bond for something at least a year out, currently paying a little over 7%. So that's some real money for folks who are thinking about getting the college fund started, or maybe thinking about first-time home ownership, but that's a little bit down the road. What a way to, with as little as $50, putting something aside longer term.
Well, thanks for highlighting that. That's terrific to know. And just maybe one more time, could we highlight how people can get in touch with you, how people can seek assistance, what resources are out there, whether you're calling in by phone or going online, and we'll help communicate this to our constituents.
Thank you. I'll go ahead because I also want to give a shout out to the organizations that are funding Vanessa's excellent work: New Hampshire Charitable Foundation and New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority. They're paying for all the work that she's doing. So my name again is Barbara Heggie. I'm a staff attorney at 603 Legal Aid at its Low Income Taxpayer Project. And I help people who have problems with the IRS. And you can seek my assistance by calling 603-224-3333 or applying online at 603legalaid.org. Thank you.
And
Thank you,
Granite
Barbara.
United Way is operating and working in partnership with others to have free tax preparation sites throughout the district in Manchester, Laconia, on the Seacoast, as well as in partnership with New Hampshire's tax aid program through AARP. People can go to nhtaxhelp.org and find a list of all of those sites, and about half of them allow you to schedule online. And the other way of calling is 211, and that's not only for taxes, but many things throughout the year. The 24/7 hotline for homeless services, for foreclosure intervention, for the state's substance use disorder hub and spoke system, and normally during regular business hours, other very routine things like where can I find housing assistance, where can I find fuel assistance, food assistance. There's so many forms of assistance out there, and it generally starts with one phone call to 211 to eliminate a lot of extra calls.
Well, thank you so much. I always learn so much when I get together with this group. And so I want to thank you for your commitment to helping folks in our state understand what resources are available to them and get through this tax season in a way where they can take full advantage of the benefits that are available to them. So Barbara and Vanessa, thank you for your work at 603 Legal Aid, and Carrie, thanks for what you do at Granite United Way. And we'll get those numbers and websites out there so that our constituents are fully aware of how they can get in touch with you. And thanks for making yourselves available today. I think it's really important as we think about Earned Income Tax Credit Awareness Day, the fact that how many people can claim this and how they go about doing it. So we'll continue to get that message out. And I just want to thank you once again for being here.